This week on ANN, the Adventist Church in North America issues a statement amid racial tensions in the United States.
Adventists in Cuba are reeling after the sudden death of a 16-year-old church member.
And later, we find out how Adventist church members in Lebanon are continuing to help after the deadly explosion in their country.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, last week, amid racial tensions in the United States, the Seventhday Adventist Church in North America released a statement calling all Adventists to serve as conduits of peace.
The statements come after the recent shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake, a black man, by police officers in Wisconsin.
The statement in part reads, "This event, like countless others, has amplified the voices of Black Americans and others as they cry out seeking justice for the acts of violence perpetrated against their community. The Seventhday Adventist Church in North America hears their voices and calls upon our churches and members to serve as conduits of peace and hope to our Black brothers and sisters. We recognize their pain and the injustice they face and strive to serve as their voices when they are silenced by those seeking to quiet them. Let us call for changes in the way the Black community is treated by those put in positions of trust and protection."
The statement further goes on to say racism and violence hurt the Black community. All of us are impacted. As God's children, we can and must do better in the way we equitably treat each other. Jesus Christ proclaimed, "Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand."
For more information, visit nadadventist.org.
Friends and members of the 10 de Octubre Adventist Church in Ranchuela, Cuba, are mourning the sudden loss of a 16-year-old member of the church's Pathfinder Club. Kendry Diaz-Negrin was walking through his neighborhood to see damage left by Tropical Storm Laura when he was electrocuted by a downed power line. He died almost instantly. The storm brought heavy rain and coastal flooding across Cuba and knocked down trees and scattered debris on August 24. No other deaths among church members were reported. Youth Ministries Director for the Beirut Mission in Cuba, Levan Hernandez, said, "I never imagined I would face this situation and feel my heart so broken to see how death took one of our young people. He was a happy young man, friendly, a lover of God's creation, a strong, faithful pathfinder, a servant of God, and a friend of humanity." Our local field, and especially the 10 de Octubre Adventist Church, has shed tears. But together with his family and friends, we keep the faith of Jesus and the promise of eternal life. Kendry grew up in the Adventist Church and was an active participant in church activities and initiatives. Pathfinder Club Director for the region, Anit Chamizo, remembers him as El Chino, as many affectionately called him, and said he earned the affection of everyone around him with his friendly way of treating people. Hundreds of church leaders and members, escorted by the Pathfinder Club, marched through the streets of the town to his burial site after a funeral ceremony on August 27. Kendry Diaz-Negrin is survived by his parents, Andre and Yain, and his 6-year-old brother.
The Fiji Correction Service, or FCS, has signed a memorandum of understanding that will allow the Seventhday Adventist Church to play a more active role in rehabilitating its members back into society. Currently, 392 of approximately 2,500 prisoners in Fiji are members of the Adventist Church, making up 16% of the total prison population. This number has concerned leaders of the Adventist Church in Fiji, inspiring them to take action. Trans-Pacific Union Mission President Maveni Kaufononga says that rehabilitation is a priority for the church in Fiji. He said, "I am glad our missions are supporting the rehabilitation of our prisoners coming out. It is said many of them go back again and again because they can't find a place outside of prison where they are accepted. Many of them come out with no place to stay, no job, stripped of their dignity. The church should be there for them. Rehabilitation efforts will largely focus on providing care and community to former inmates when they are released from prison, as well as counseling services." In effect, last month, the memorandum is a culmination of months of talks and a symposium that was held for the FCS and Adventist Church in February this year.
Leaders of the Seventhday Adventist Church in Colombia recently took part in a celebration of the 482nd birthday of the city of Bogota, which doubled as a ceremony to honor those who have died from the coronavirus pandemic. Mayor of Bogota, Claudia Lopez, said, "We want to begin this commemoration of 482 years of our city by uniting and offering condolences and remembering the history we have built together since our city was founded." Lopez encouraged citizens to have hope and continue to follow safety guidelines put in place to prevent the spread of infections. Bogota is home to 7.4 million people. The health ministry in Colombia reports that there are currently more than 345,700 confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country and 11,624 deaths. Bogota has nearly one-third of the cases in the country. Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Director for the Adventist Church in Colombia, Henry Beltran, said there are more than 48,000 Seventh-day Adventists who live in Bogota, and we are happy to join you in the celebration of the 482 years and offer the following prayer to the Creator God, the Protector God of this city. Be of good courage and strength. Let's trust in the Lord, for He watches over us. Church leaders have reported 30 deaths among its members in South Colombia, with 70 members testing positive for coronavirus. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Colombia has provided humanitarian assistance through its Adventist Development and Relief Agency to needy families, Venezuelan immigrants, and the most vulnerable people during the pandemic crisis.
Looking to win souls for Christ through art and community service, Epic Seventhday Adventist Church opened an urban center of influence on Monday, July 27, in the Wicker Park, suburb of Chicago in the U.S. state of Illinois.
At the core of the new center is the Epic Art House, an art and cultural center which offers art classes as well as exhibition space for local artists.
Epic Church pastor Andre Flores says, "We want to bridge the gap between the church as we know it and the community. We're in a terrible time of crisis, and we want to offer a place for people to experience healing, creativity, and community."
The Adventist Church in the Lake Union sent this report.
We're right here at the Art House in the city of Chicago in the neighborhood of Bucktown. The idea came as a result of reflecting on a methodology that will be efficient in order to relate and to reach to the secular people or to people here in the city, to urban people, some of the most traditional methodologies to reach people may or may not work in the city. And we decided that we were going to create a neutral place where we can meet people in the community where they are, look for the Art House to be a place of healing, community, and friendship. The commitment to discipleship stays the same, but I think the opportunity to take our disciple-making mission in the context of the city goes deeper. We're trying to bridge the gap between church as we know it and the community. We're trying to be a church that is on a mission 24/7. The immediate community here in Bucktown, Wicker Park, and Logan Square can expect a fun, open space for children, family, and young adults to express and to explore their creativity. This has been a horrible, terrible time of crisis for all of us, and we want to offer a place where people can experience healing, creativity, and community. We have been meeting already moms, dads, and single people that have been coming and asking questions about the space. So far it has been a blessing. We know it's going to be a slow process. It's going to be a slow process as we're still struggling with the coronavirus. So far we have offered many activities for children and families, but moving forward we're also going to offer activities for young adults, and for people without children we're going to offer the space as a space where people can come and feature their art, where they can collaborate with other artists. We're going to offer this space as a place where people can also meet other creatives, offer music. We're going to have open mic nights as the regulations here in the state of Illinois allow us to do that. So we are finding ourselves in a need to sustain it long term. So if you live in the Lake Union area, you are a Seventhday Adventist, you're a follower of Christ, I want to invite you to partner with us, participate with us, and support the Urban Center of Influence. This is the one Urban Center of Influence open during the pandemic. We launched during the pandemic, we're open during the pandemic. We cannot do it by ourselves. We need every Seventhday Adventist watching this to partner with us, to give and to help us sustain this mission throughout and after the pandemic so that you can partner with us.
If you would like to know more about the Art Center, you can visit epicchurchsda.com/art-space. Or you can read more on lakeunionherald.org.
Coming up, the Adventist Church in Lebanon continues to reach people after the Beirut Explosion.
But up next, ADRA in St. Martin distributes produce and launches new gardens for those in need.
You have found what makes you happy, and then everything else will come into play.
Is important to all. The brain is infinity and beyond. There's no reason to never stop. There's always a reason to start.
Family. Family.
I've never seen anyone that's so excited to see just me for no reason than just to see me. And I'm trying to be a better person for her. It's a work in progress. It's nice to see someone that sees you from those little innocent eyes, who sees me as the guy that she loves and comes and gives hugs to. And
whether it's for my 3 children or my friends or my family, if this does not exist, then it's meaningless.
I want to remember this moment now, when 20 years from now she's an adult. Hopefully she's come to be a good adult.
Any idea what time it is?
We really, really need our sleep. Are you from? No, we're not from the future, but we know you only pay attention to yourselves, so here we are.
But how? We have no time for that. We have less than 30 seconds.
Fact number 1. Adults need 7 hours of sound, restful sleep to keep their immune systems healthy and to fight viruses. And today, right now, is the single most important thing you can do to keep yourself healthy. What are you doing?
We're just Googling if spicy foods cause hallucinations.
Fact 2. Staring at your phone or your computer right before bed prevents sound sleep. And you'll be tired the next day. And nobody got time for that.
Can we just go to bed, please?
Welcome back.
100 families in St. Martin were the first beneficiaries of organically grown produce thanks to the Regional Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA.
The initiative was a prelude to the launch of a new community project to promote kitchen gardens for needy families. The 100 bags of fresh produce were grown by SXM Fisheries NV, a local organic vegetable and fruit farm on the island that ADRA has partnered with to provide healthy food to families.
Families received a bag of produce with various organic items. Every month until October, 100 different families will receive the bags of produce.
Each family will receive a portion of seeds and seedlings, a plant, and starter soil each month to motivate and inspire recipients to grow their own fruit and vegetables. The project will also offer continuous guidance for growing the produce.
The concept came from a brainstorming session with ADRA Aruba and ADRA Curaçao, nearby entities within the Dutch Caribbean islands.
ADRA volunteers worked in a coordinated effort with the Adventist Community Services Federation on the island, which oversaw the distribution of bags to 9 Adventist churches on the islands and the St. Martin Seventhday Adventist School, where families in the surrounding community were selected as part of the project.
The ADRA Grow Bag Project is the first project for ADRA St. Martin since it became an official foundation in June.
On August 4, an explosion rocked the city of Beirut, Lebanon, killing more than 150 people and injuring thousands.
Since that time, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, along with the Adventist Church in the region, have been working tirelessly to help the city clean up and rebuild.
One of the buildings damaged in the explosion was the Borj Hamoud Adventist Learning Center, or ALC. The ALC provides basic, faith-based elementary education for Syrian refugee children who have missed 1 year of school due to issues related to war and relocation to a new country.
On the day of the Beirut explosion, Fatima and her friend had several miracles that saved their lives. Fatima is one of the Arabic teachers at the ALC in Borj Hamoud, Beirut. The Middle East and North African Union sent this report.
It's a miracle, actually.
It was a Tuesday afternoon, and Fatima El Kholi, a Syrian mom from Aleppo, had convinced a friend to change her plans for the day, not knowing how crucial that decision would be for them. At 6 p.m. of August 4, 2020, a gigantic explosion hit Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, leaving a large radius of destruction, taking more than 150 lives and leaving thousands injured.
كنت مع صديقتي بشارع الحمراء. كان عنا شي بدنا نعمله وبعدين قررنا انه نعمل شوبينج بس لحسن الحظ نزلنا على مكان فيه طابق ارضي. اول ما بلش الصوت يطلع انا فكرت المبنى عم ينزل بس الناس بلشت تصرخ وكان في هيك مثل هلع وناس عم بتقول انفجار. رفيقتي كانت عم بتصرخ وعم تركض بس بالنسبة لي كان مختلف الوضع لأنه مثل حسيت انصدمت ولما قالوا انفجار بلشت صور السيئة من الحرب بسوريا تخطر ببالي فأنا كنت واقفة بمكاني وما كنت عارفة كيف بدي أمشي.
The sounds and feelings caused by explosions were sadly too familiar for Fatima. She had to leave her bombarded home back in Syria and find safety for her family in Lebanon a few years ago. Now, she works at the Adventist Learning Center, a school for refugee kids, impacting positively more than 450 refugee children since 2013.
هذا مركز هون للتعليم وأنا بعلم هون عربي وبساعد بالترجمة بس أنا بشوف المركز أكثر من أنه مركز للتعليم هو مثل بيت كبير للأطفال لأنه نحن عادة بنروح زيارات عند الأهالي فأغلب الأهالي اللي ساكنين بالمنطقة هون ببرج حمود بيوتهم كتير صغيرة فالأطفال عندهم مساحة كبيرة هون ليلعبوا ليعملوا نشاطات ليتسلوا ليطلعوا رحل فهو أكتر بكتير من أنه يكون مركز تعليم مليان حب هذا المكان.
In spite of Lebanon's current instability and the threat of COVID-19, the Adventist Learning Center was preparing to start classes soon. Fatima's friend was supposed to help get the classrooms ready that day.
هلا هي المفروض كانت تجي لهون هي وست تانية مشان يحضروا المركز للسنة الجديدة بس أنا أقنعتها أنها تروح معي. لما رحنا لهنيك وصار الانفجار هي كانت كتير خايفة وقالت يا ريت ما جيت بس لما جينا لهون وشفنا الأضرار وشفنا الشيء اللي صاير كانت عم تحمد الله أنه منيح أنا كنت معك ما جيت لهون. وتحديداً هذا الصف اللي نحن واقفين فيه هذا الصف فيه 3 طاولات لأطفال صغار بعمر 6-7 سنين يعني لما جينا وشفنا الإزاز كيف مكسر يعني أنا قلت الحمد لله ما كانوا الأطفال هون أكيد كان في حدا رح ينأذى.
The teachers and staff of the Learning Center believe God can make all things work together for good.
أنا بتأمل وبتمنى من ربنا أنه يحط قدرته الإلهية ليصلح الوضع ما بس هون عنا بالسنتر بلبنان. لبنان بلد كتير حلو أنا بحبه كتير وبعتبره بلدي الثاني. إن شاء الله كل شيء بيزبط وإن شاء الله أطفالنا هون بيكون عندهم فرصة جديدة ليرجعوا يكون عندهم أمل بالحياة ويكون عندهم مستقبل حلو. مكاننا هون مثل ما قلت قبل شوي هو أكتر من مكان تعليم هو مصدر حب وتفاؤل وأمل مش بس لأننا نحن كأساتذة للأطفال ولأهاليهم فإن شاء الله بيرجع بيعمر كل شيء ويصير الوضع أحسن.
ADRA and the Adventist Church in the region are still working in Beirut to provide aid to those in need. If you would like to help with their work, visit adra.org/emergency fund.
Coming up, Elizabeth Henry is here to share what happened this week in Adventist history.
But up next, Adventist Mission shares a story from the Adventist Church in the Solomon Islands.
Hi, VL. How are you? Are you okay? Dear VL, I can't even remember how long we've been staying at home now because of this virus. For now, it's just nice to hear your voice and see your face. Nothing beats playing outside in the dirt, though. Which reminds me, are your hands clean? Yes! Mommy and Daddy says not a lot of kids get COVID-19, but it's always nice to be extra safe. We should wash our hands before picking our nose. Washing our hands protects us, but it also keeps us from spreading the virus in case we touch something dirty. Let's always be clean and safe, okay? Love, Joey.
We may look, pray, read, think, worship, sing, and share differently, but we all look forward to the Sabbath. And we all look forward to the future when Jesus will come again. With this message in mind, we arrived at a core component for a new identity system, the creation grid, a simple 7-column structure for layout. The grid is a reference both to the prophetic timeline as well as to the creation week that culminated in the Seventhday Sabbath. Regardless of what or where you are designing, you can always find information to help you communicate that we are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Welcome back.
The Solomon Islands in the South Pacific is home to 600,000 people with more than 52,000 Adventists.
The Adventist Church in the region is growing, and church leaders are excited to see where God is leading.
Adventist Mission has more.
The Solomon Islands, a nation of hundreds of islands in the South Pacific, is home to 600,000 people with more than 52,000 Seventh-day Adventists. That is nearly one Adventist for every 11 people.
The church in the Solomons is growing. We are excited that God is leading the church. And the church is growing so quickly that we have a huge logistical challenge. We need many Bibles. We have a number of institutions, more than 400 companies, and we've got about 197 organized churches. In health, we have one hospital. In the education sector, we have 13 high schools, and we have more than 100 schools in total. We have between 14 and 15,000 students attending all our schools. We have a significant number of baptisms also happening every year through our schools. It's a big mission to run, and the islands are scattered over many, many kilometers of ocean, and so we have our challenges.
Barikama is actually one of the oldest college here in the Solomon Island. It started way back in 1948, and that was after the Second World War. And it is a place, actually, it is more focused on mission for training missionaries. In this college, we have students who have difficulties in their school fee. There are some children who really struggle. Some children even, because they are interested to become Adventists, that their parents didn't want to even meet their school fee. So we think that the school must try to help them.
Nestor's family is not Adventist and finds it hard to pay school fees. But Nestor chose to come to this school because of its reputation for quality education.
I work hard on holidays and even weekend for the school fee. Every weekend I go down to town to make us marketing to earn an income to support me while I'm in school.
Nestor would escape the school grounds on Sabbath when everyone was focused on special activities. On this day, she would sell donuts at the market to pay for school and buy herself the supplies she needed. When the school staff noticed Nestor was missing, they were worried, but they soon learned why she was working so hard, and they wanted to help. One day, a school administrator called Nestor into the office to tell her she couldn't leave school during Sabbath hours. He also told her that she'd been accepted into the Student Support Fund. She would no longer have to work to pay her fees.
I am very thankful of the Student Support Fund of the school who had supported me with clothes and school fee support. My plan for the future is I want to become somebody to help my parents, and I wish that I could become a doctor.
Please pray for the people of the Solomon Islands. May God bless them as they learn the truths of the Bible and feel the love of God through human hands.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting AdventistMission.org, then click on videos at the top.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Elizabeth Henry for a look at Adventist history.
This week, we look at the life and ministry of Lilith Adora Wood Starr.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History, where we will look at the life of Lilith Adora Wood Starr, who was born on September 5th, 1865 in Monroe, Wisconsin, and grew up in Missouri. In 1890, her medical degree from the University of Michigan, and following her graduation, worked at Battle Creek Sanatorium for 2 years. In 1893, Dr. Wood was sent, along with 4 co-workers, to Guadalajara, Mexico, where she ran the medical clinic under the supervision of Dan T. Jones until 1895. She was one of the first Protestant missionaries and the first female physician given permission to practice as a medical doctor in Mexico by the Mexican government. In 1895, Dr. Wood married John Acme Starr and moved to Michigan. They had 2 children, Russell and Julia. In 1905, the Starrs moved from Michigan to Georgia when Dr. Starr took direction of the Adventist Sanatorium. In 1907, she joined the faculty of the College of Medical Evangelists in Loma Linda, California, where she taught courses and offered house-to-house demonstrations on various health topics, including science and medical missionary courses. After leaving California, Lilith and John Starr lived in Nogales and in Tucson, Arizona, where Starr continued to practice medicine. While living in Nogales, she worked with mothers and children on both sides of the U.S.-Mexico border. On May 11, 1926, Dr. Starr became the first woman to be admitted to the Pima County Medical Society. When Dr. Lilith Starr died in 1938, just a few months before John's death, she left behind a legacy of groundbreaking medical missionary work and education. To find out more about Lilith Wood Starr, you can read the article about her life and many other biographies of Adventist missionaries at the Encyclopedia of Seventhday Adventist Online, encyclopedia.adventist.org. This has been a look at This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventhday Adventist Church.
We'd love to hear from you. Send us your feedback and tell us how your church is making a difference in its community.
Be sure to capture plenty of video footage and photos, then write up a summary of the event's important details. And feel free to send full video reports as well.
You can reach us by sending an email to annvideo11@gmail.com.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of James, chapter 4, verses 7 and 8.
The passage says, "Therefore submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit Adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.